How can David Pakman logically put out a video saying Trump has the worst approval ratings when it's the best he's ever had of his career in aggregate? Because he's just...
What's going on, you guys? Today we have Tim Pool calling out David Pakman. Tim Pool is blaming David Pakman for the American people being upset. Doesn't make sense. Let's get into it.
Over the past several years, I have warned that there is a potential for a coming second American Civil War. We don't know how it will take place, whether it will even come, but it does seem like we're at least on a path in that direction. Due to the various variables that exist before us, who knows? Who knows? But the reason why I bring this up, the reason why I talk about Civil War, I should say, is that, as most of you know, there have been articles written by prominent individuals at prominent publications about the fear of a second Civil War. National security experts, professors, and even former CIA analysts have all warned the U.S. is trending this way. As of right now, the state of political disarray, ideological division, and political violence has left us in what is called civil strife, the period that occurs before a civil war takes place. Now, it is no guarantee that a civil war happens. The civil rights era in the 50s was considered a period of civil strife, but it did not evolve into a full-blown war. However, Bleeding Kansas was civil strife, and it did lead to the American Civil War. Now, many of these people on the left, they have mocked me. They have said, this Tim Pool is laughable. Ha ha. Does he really think it's going to happen? And then they go on and gurgle their ignorance, saying he's just engagement farming. Well, oh boy, do I have vindication and news for you. Following the actions of Donald Trump in this past month, liberals across the board on various subreddits and other platforms, but I love the Reddit one, have been warning a civil war is coming, outright calling for the use of violence, or expressing their fear that there's going to be some degree of fascistic takeover, authoritarianism, ultimately culminating in conflict. Some have even advocated for civil war. Now, it's fascinating. If you go on these various subreddits, of which we have pulled up is Kyle Kalinske, you go on David Pakman show or Vaush. It's funny because you go back in time and they're, of course, commenting on Tim Pool saying, why does Tim Pool think a civil war is going to come? This guy's so dumb. MAGA chuds are so fat and overweight, they wouldn't be able to fight. And I find it.
And here we have Tim Pool doing what he does best. As a Russian propagandist, he is not going to call out anyone in power whatsoever. No one that's actually in charge of maybe the reasons on why people might be mad. But no, he's going to call out the ones that are rallying up the people, that are getting them all worked up. We should just continue to do what we're told and to take in all of this meaningless media that is telling us that everything is okay. Yeah, that's what we should keep on doing. Just keep on burying our heads down in the sand. MAGA, make America, everything's great. Yeah, we're not about to lose everything. We're not about to not be able to afford anything. No, we're doing great. Let's keep on going.
Hilarious because they've never once actually listened to what I had to say. So we have this post from Secular Talk pulled up. Secular Talk, of course, is Kyle Kalinske's show, where they say Donald Trump is the reason the Second Amendment was created. Really? I'd like to throw it back to the Culture War episode I did a few months ago with Sam Cedar. Sam Cedar of the Majority Report, of course, argued with me that civil war wouldn't happen. And for tribal cult-like reasons, he maintained a position that defied his own reasoning. And we had the discussion. Basically, no matter what I asked, the dude kept saying, well, I still don't think it will happen, despite saying he thought it could happen. But let me break that down, why this matters. So, of course, with liberals trying to insult me for tribal reasons, they say Tim Pool's crazy for thinking there could be a civil war. And there's a lot of factors at play as to why a civil war may happen. Right now, Donald Trump is firing bureaucrats. He's taking control of the independent agencies through executive order, which he should have had in the first place under Article 1 of the Constitution. And largely, the Democrats view this as a fascistic takeover and him placing loyalists. There's two disparate worldviews. It doesn't matter which view you take. My view is that, of course, Elon is firing bureaucrats, finding waste and bloat, and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are going to come and clean things up, restore accountability. Democrats view it as a fascist takeover. They fear they are going to be targeted by the federal government, and they say things like, this is how a civil war starts. So along comes Sam Cedar. He comes on the Culture War show, and he says he doesn't think there will be one, and tries to play this thing of, oh, Tim Pool is so dumb for saying civil war. So I said to him, okay, do you think that Donald Trump is going to use the military to deport illegal immigrants? And Sam Seder says, of course. He said it. Right. I said, okay, let's imagine a scenario where Donald Trump has trucks and trains pulling up and they're loading illegal immigrants, these people, onto trains by the thousands. Do you think that liberals will just stand there and say, oh, I guess, And he largely agreed, yeah, liberals won't do anything about it. They'll sit there
Make sure you guys like and subscribe for more content like this.
And watch. And I said, sure. Do you think that there is a possibility that as these deportations are happening and Trump has started taking control, a state like California may refuse the military or National Guard to come in and do this? Of course. And I said, do you think Trump will just say, okay, I guess we can't go to California? And he says something to the effect of like, no. The logic and the questions I asked was not to get Sam Seder, but largely I believe people like he and Kyle Kulinski and David Pakman just say whatever their followers want them to say. And so that is, Tim Pool is so dumb. I'll give you an example on David Pakman. David Pakman had on, this is my favorite example, and I'll give you another one, to be completely honest. I'll give you the modern one right now. Donald Trump is enjoying the highest approval ratings of his political career. Though it has gone down a little bit over the past couple of weeks, it was at a really high point, and now he's just generally like 1.5 up. So pretty good. Best of his political career. David Pakman put out a video saying worst approval, all-time worst approval or something. I'll show you the screenshot. How can David Pakman logically put out a video saying Trump has the worst approval ratings when it's the best he's ever had of his career in aggregate? Because he's just saying whatever he has to say. Now me, I use aggregate polling. I don't isolate one poll. So here's a couple of examples. Several years ago, this is probably like 6-7 years ago, I noticed that David Pakman and I both had two different videos on the same day. Mine was Trump sees highest favorability. His was Trump sees lowest favorability. I said, well, hold on. Something must be wrong. Did I get this wrong? How can these two realities coexist? In my video, I took the aggregate favorability and approval of Donald Trump, meaning I looked at 15 different polls, averaged them out using Real Clear Politics and 538, which is ABC News. And we found that though Trump was underwater, it's the best he had ever done. And I said, this is great news. Trump is improving. David Pakman took a single poll showing record unfavorability and said that proves it. It's very strange. Why would you lead off with what is statistically known as static or a blip?
And the truth is that people aren't fans of Trump. Anyone with eyes can see the way this country is heading, what direction that we're going in. But we're still going to have those few that are doing anything for Trump, that believe that he is the second coming. We have people that believe in this Christian fascist, that we have someone who is going to lead us into this greatness, into where America does fulfill the prophecy in Revelation. They're going to buy up and buy into all of this, that he is the savior. So, of course, there's going to be people that will, which may even be a good amount of people that agree that Trump is, quote unquote, doing something. But anyone with eyes can see what's really going on. Our country is decaying at the fastest rate, and it may be time to call it quits.
That's why I didn't use it, and I never do, because these polls are outliers. Sometimes I'll use single polls if it is the only poll put out for that time of a specific issue. Notably, we talked about Democrat favorability recently being at an all-time low, and I showed that while it is lower than Republicans in aggregate, there are these single polls saying all-time low. I think that's fine. But tracking Donald Trump's approval rating in this way, that's not true. And then there's the famous Meet the Press moment, where David Pakman laughed when it was Ted Cruz asked if he believed the Ukraine interfered in the election in 2016, to which Politico and the New York Times reported. And when Ted Cruz says that's what's been reported, a producer laughed and Pakman laughed at him. This is a really great example. This is Pakman laughing at a guy for reading the news. Here's my point, and we'll jump into all of this. Kyle Kulinski is getting roasted because he kept saying Kamala was doing really well and owning the Republicans, and he actually thought she'd win Iowa. Insane. David Pakman, as I already mentioned. And now we have, of course, the Vaush subreddit, Vaush, where they mock me for all the times I've warned that extreme politicization of government could lead to civil war. Not that I was saying the left was starting a civil war or the right was. I said this political division is getting to the point. Case in point, let's jump here to this post. Let's zoom in at least a little bit. Secular.
And here we have it, you guys. We have Tim Pool saying, he's going to say we're not blaming the left or the right, but then he's going to only name Kyle Kalinske, Sam Cedar, David Pakman. He's wanting to get around. He's wanting to be tricky. He's wanting to actually trick the people and wanting to come across as innocent. But again, anyone with eyes can see what the heck is going on. Let me know what you guys think. It's another day in the progressive way.